Are you looking for strategies to secure finance for your next property investment? Well, you've come to the right video. Today we've got Nick Haig on the show, and he's going to share with us his story and how you can do just that. How you going, Nick?
Well, thanks, Nathan. How are you going?
Yeah, really good. Had a really busy one today. So can you share with us a bit about your background and what you're passionate about?
So a little bit about my background. So I've had my own business for the last 17 years, which I'm just currently sold and moving on to bigger and better things. I've been developing for the past, since about 2009, approximately done about 23 to 24 developments in that time. I'm really passionate about helping people achieve their goals, whether that's in property or self-improvement. Just enjoy hanging around with good people. I like business. I like being involved in businesses. I like to be able to help grow businesses. Definitely love property, always been in property and interested in property. And I guess my biggest interest would be my family, and that's probably my why. And why I get up and do things every day is my family and to provide for them.
Yeah, nice. So you've got a young family, and what is it about, what attracted you to property? And can you tell us a little bit of a story there?
Yeah. So I guess property, in my last business, I was working on around a lot of property, and especially a lot of new property, and really enjoyed what I was doing there. My mum probably instilled property into me at a very young age. She used to drag me around to a lot of open homes that might discuss, but she used to love going to look at property and buying property. So I guess I probably learned from her a lot about property and starting to enjoy that process about going to look at property. And so I pretty much got her to thank for that, and also just a general interest as well. I had an accountant really early on in the piece gave me a Steve McKnight book, 0 to 160 properties, and I think that also ignited something in me within the property space as well. So yeah, nice.
So what was the business that you've had?
Yeah, so it was electrical contracting business. So we had 17 staff in that. Had that for 17 years.
Wow.
Yeah, so that was it was very time consuming, but did some developments in parallel with that. It was just kind of went well together. So I had lots of people in the trade that I could rely on while doing the developments as well. So builders and other trades. So it was really complementary.
So it allowed you to wet your whistle and to start buying development properties. How many properties have you developed?
As mentioned before, I think we've done about 23 deals, either through a business or privately. So we've done new builds for ourselves as a family, or we've done renovations at our own properties, as well as developments as a joint venture, developments by myself, renovations for myself as well. So there's been a bit of a mix of everything, and there's been a couple of buy and holds in there as well. So I think a bit of a mix, land subdivisions. There's definitely been a mix of property along the way, and not really pursuing one or looking at one strategy, so to speak. But just as opportunities arise, or people need something, then why not have a look at it and either joint venture up with them or assist them any way I can. So
nice. So you went from running an electrical business as a Sparky electrical business, and then doing some development properties. So what are you doing now?
So at the moment, I've just joined Punters Finance, the team at Punters Finance, TSC Mortgage Brokers. They're a big mortgage broking firm based up on the Sunshine Coast. I was a client of theirs for many years, probably 4 or 5 years.
Nice.
Yeah, and I guess they were helping me do my property developments. And just the team up there was really helpful, really friendly. Big team, had good turnaround times, and it was just I got to know the business owner, Matt Punter, fairly well in that time as well. So I just liked their business model, like how they did business. I liked how they helped people, and they genuinely cared. So and being on on that side of the fence. So I could definitely see some growth that could happen in that business. Saw a bit of an opportunity there, and here I am today, about 18 months later, in the role that I've got now, which is business development, client liaison. So just assisting clients, developers, mum and dads through that, through that initial part of their finance journey.
That's awesome. I know a little bit about Punters Finance, and it's a really good business for those looking to develop or like a business a property portfolio. So, what was in your mind? What was what pulled you towards that business, particularly, and what problem did they solve that you saw that others weren't? Because I know they are unique in that way, but yeah. I want to hear it from you.
yeah, exactly. I guess being a business owner and having limited options with the major banks. I was dealing with a major bank for a long time. Things changed in my business a little bit, structuring wise. So the majors didn't really want to look at me for a certain period of time.
Yeah.
Punters Finance just had those out of the box finance solutions. We're a solutions based lender. So we generally will find a finance option for everybody and everything. And they really went above and beyond at that point in time when I needed to get a deal over the line. I'd gone unconditional on a property and didn't really realise the implications of my restructuring through my business was going to have until it was too late. Hence, reached out to Punters Finance and they had a solution that wasn't from a mainstream lender or a major bank that was going to be a great option for me to move forward with this deal. So can't thank them enough for that. It was just from there, my relationship actually grew from there, and I actually brought all my funding over to them.
That really says something, doesn't it? You know what I mean?
It does.
And now you're working with them. So
correct.
That's great. Yeah. So what's been one of the most like one of the biggest challenges you've faced in your property journey that you might be able to share a story about?
My biggest challenge probably would be that little story I just told about the financing and restructuring of the business.
Yeah.
Okay. And I think that was definitely a big one. And I guess that was overcome by just having a good team, but a good network of people. So it wasn't, I didn't find Punters Finance by myself. It was someone else that put me onto Punters Finance. So it's just having a great network of people in all different fields that, you can reach out to. They might have had a similar problem to you, or been in a similar situation where they're like, oh, just go talk to this guy, or just go talk to that person. They'll be able to help you out. And I think that's really important, to be able to have that network of good humans and good people in your circle that are going to point in the right direction when you do have those dramas, or those little speed bumps, as I like to call them. I guess, and aside from that, another hurdle was probably buying property that, this is not really to do with the finance side of things, but just buying property that was kind of like in another city. I don't know, people do it very successfly, but I just found that I bought some property in Gladstone when there was a bit of a boom happening up there, and went up and bought a couple of properties. So it was kind of like it was out of sight, out of mind for me, and I kind of missed the boat to get out, as a lot of people probably did. And it was definitely a big learning to say that I just wanted to pull back and work on areas that I know I can feel and see and touch. So kind of pull back to Southeast Queensland more than spread my wings too far.
Yeah. Well, it's all about like knowing your limits, knowing what you can do, what you can't do. And I think a lot of people just hold back. And like fear is a big hurdle rather than learning, and you might find an opportunity outside Southeast Queensland again in the future, but you'll know how to deal with it. You'll find the right people, maybe some people locally there that will tell you when to pull the pin, if it's a volatile market sort of thing. So
exactly, or even potentially doing a joint venture with someone up in that place, that's on the ground, that can manage it and really have that experience there. Because I think as long as we're learning or as long as I'm learning and growing from those experiences and finding a way that I can do it better, then I'm okay with that. But if I keep repeating the same mistake, that's probably when I'll, give myself an uppercut and try and sort myself out. But yes, learning and growing is very important as well.
Yeah, like now you're inside Punters Finance. Has your like perception of finance changed? It's been a few years now.
It has been. It definitely has changed, and it's opened my eyes to actually what is available. And what's available outside of that big four or the big four lending institutions. There's so many more options out there that people don't realise. If you've been told no by one lender, doesn't mean you're going to get told no by another one. They've all got their different criteria. They're all different. They all look at people's, ability to borrow differently. So if one lender says no, doesn't mean the next one's going to say no or the next one's going to say no. So it's just knowing what you've got in front of you and working with the brokers closely to say they can go, okay, this person's got this going on. I know this lender over here will suit that, and they'll have an option up down at the moment. So let's have a look at that option for them. And I don't think a lot of people actually understand that just because you've been told no once doesn't mean you're going to get told no every time. So always good to have a good broker, a good team behind you as well.
Yeah, it's definitely very case by case. So if you were to start again, like if you were a new investor, like a new property investor, what would you tell someone just getting started?
So if it was a first home buyer again, I'd definitely talk to your broker early, or talk to a broker early. Find out your borrowing capacity. That's probably a really good place to start, because you could be shopping for something that's way out of your price range. But talking to a broker early, getting a pre-approval so you know that you're comfortable with what side of property you're looking at, what area you're looking at, you're comfortable with the area as well. And then just knowing what that budget is, what that overall budget is. And if you go to put a contract on the house, then you know that finance will be approved. So pre-approval is super important. If you can limit any consumer debt like credit cards, personal loans, things like that, that'll always help you with your borrowing capacity to increase that. And that's something that, if we do come across people that might need potentially that can't borrow or can't get a loan at the moment, we will actually pathway them and help them with strategies so they can get to that home loan sort of stage where, okay, you've paid off that, we can see more savings in that account. Let's go for pre-approval on a home loan now. So just that pathway.
Okay, so you help them out, and what do you? Yeah, okay. So
that makes sense.
So it's not. What do you call it? It's not financial advice. Nothing on this video is financial advice.
No advice at all.
No advice at all.
It's just pathwaying them to getting them into, or helping them get a home loan for something that they want to buy in the future that they might not be able to quite to get to at the moment. They might just be out of reach. So might just be paying off some consumer debt, paying down some credit card debt, putting some more savings in the bank, things like that. That can generally help people to get that bigger purchase.
What sort of clients do you deal with the most?
So I guess at Punters Finance, there's a few different businesses we've got here. We've got TSC mortgage brokers, and that's like your mum and dad sort of finance. If that's you just coming in to buy your residential home or an investment property, and you're PAYG, so you've got a good stable job, you've been in that job for a while, then that will be underneath the Punters, the TSC brand. We have a lot of developer clients and investor clients, self-employed clients. Those people generally fall underneath the Punters Finance banner. They will generally not have that PYAG, that solid income, but their income might be a little bit different. So we might need to verify their income through an accountant letter or through the business bank account or a BAS, monthly BAS. So just depends on what your situation is, but we have solutions for nearly every situation that we can think of in regards to your work.
So with the investors side of thing, is there something?
Yep.
Is there a problem that you see like that comes up, that might come up more often than not, or something that may have surprised you since you've been on the job?
Yeah, I guess because we deal with a lot of developers, a lot of people put developer or development in their entity name that they're doing these projects in. That's a bit of a red flag for the banks or the finance institutions that don't like dealing with developers. So if you have a business name that doesn't have that in there, or even an entity that you want to borrow in, just leave the word investor, property developer out of that entity would be one thing that I've learned. I've also learned to spread the lending. So just because you're with one bank at the moment doesn't mean that you got to keep going back to that one bank. And this is the beauty of a broker, that they can go to 60 plus lenders, and then we can spread your lending over different banks or different institutions, just depending on what your situation is at any one stage. Some lenders might have more relaxed regulations at one point, and then one might be more strict. So then we'll just marry up to where we see fit for you. Rate reductions. We're always asking for rate reductions for our investor clients and developer clients, just to make sure we're staying sharp on top of our rates and they're keeping their cash flow as strong as possible. And then just your entities, which I mentioned before, make sure we generally like to see entities for different developments, but that's advice that you'd get from your solicitor and accountant on that. But just don't have the word developer or development in those entities that you create.
Yeah, is there much time? Do people save much time from coming from a mortgage broker? Do you if someone was to go out there and look for, let's say they're an investor and they're looking for alternate lending, do you think there's much have you quantified the time that it would take to find the same sort of lenders that you get? It's hard. It's got to there's a lot of with property developers or investors, sometimes there's a bit of ego involved, and they want to do it themselves. They might want to go and find their own private investors and that sort of thing. So do you? Yeah.
I guess to answer the question there, if as a small business owner, or when I was a small business owner and a property developer, that's what or investor. I couldn't think of anything worse than trying to follow up with banks and wait on hold, talking to people, trying to get my finance over the line. I can just make one phone call to my broker at Punters Finance or the Savings Centre and know that, or an email, and know that they're going to jump on that for me within 24 hours, if not straight away. And that just saves me having to follow up with banks. I'm just following up with one person, not getting handed from one department to another. These guys are doing all the legwork for me. They're giving me probably 3 or more options per deal where I can get my lending from. And from that point in time, I will effectively pick who I want to go with on one of their recommendations. So I think it saved me, I don't know how many hours, but I just didn't have the hours to spend on going to try and get finance. So having a broker for me was paramount. Yeah, nice.
So it would have saved you days and days of chasing banks around.
For sure.
And then and then if your situation's not right, or if you need a low doc, you would be saving them being knocked back by the big lenders and having to go and chase the smaller ones, which are probably even less organised.
That's right,
or less,
exactly.
Yeah.
And knowing your broker's going into bat for you, they're on your side. They want to get you the funding. If they don't get you the funding, they don't get paid. So it's in their best interest to find you a deal that works for you and your scenario. That's how they're gonna get paid. But they are working for you essentially. Yeah.
And if they, I heard a story of a broker, and he would give loans out, try to give people loans that they couldn't really afford. And I heard about this thing called clawback, and the broker, the financial institutions would take back the the commission that the mortgage brokers would accrue, and it can be a lot. so I thought that was interesting. That was a thing, and I'm sure that's really scary for the brokers there. Like if so, you'd really want to make sure that you get the right fit for people.
Correct. Yeah, we're seeing a lot of clawbacks happen in the market now. People chopping and changing, trying to get a better rate with obviously so many interest rates we've had recently. That people are shopping around, but we do that for our clients in the back end anyway. We're always doing like rate requests with all our current loan book, so we'll generally find that we can get better rates. People haven't asked us to do that, but we'll go and ask the lender anyway, and then we'll go let our clients know, oh hey, we've just secured you 0.5 discount off your home loan. Are you happy for us to go ahead with this? And they're like, oh wow, I didn't know you were doing that, so that's awesome. Yeah, 100%. It's going to save us this much money every week or every month, then why wouldn't we do that? So
yeah, nice. Is there any other like finance stories that come to mind now I've drilled in a little bit, without going into clients' names and things like that? Like, I love a good story.
Yeah, I guess my own story would be being told no by a lender or by a bank that I had a bit of a relationship with, and my father-in-law actually had a relationship with them as well. So I kind of like, oh, well, they're going to look after me and do the right thing by me. But in saying that, I think that's probably the worst thing I could have done by trying to stay with the one lender. It wasn't until I've reached out to a broker where it kind of opened my eyes a little bit to what other lending is actually out there. You don't actually have the big four banks, but you've got lenders under that, and then you've got lenders under that, and then you've got private lenders as well. So just because you've been told no by someone else or by another broker, they might not have relationships that we do or that other brokers do. So definitely go and ask the question, use your network, go and ask somebody else, if I should just take this no as gospel, or should I go and ask the question somewhere else. So and then failing that, I did have another a JV that I've completed recently with a guy who couldn't get funding either. He was a property developer as such, so he had no income, and he needed funding for a project that he'd found. So we actually JV'd on that project. I had good serviceability and some capital there. So just that whole JV space as well, that really just opened my eyes the last probably 3 or 4 years into that. You don't have to have everything for a whole deal. You can have part of the deal, and then you can have someone else for part of the deal, and you can come together and bring those skill sets together. So just go on that network, talking to people, go to property events, just putting yourself out there about what do you need, what does your project need, what do you need to move on. Someone else there, as they've lived it, they've been it, they can probably help you with it. So
where's a good place to find JV partners and that sort of thing? I know I've been to a few Matt Jones events, and they seem really good in Brisbane at the Broncos.
I frequently head along to those ones, and there's a great bunch of people there. A lot of networking goes on there, and from that, I think your circle's just growing. There's definitely other networking groups out there, but I've got definitely a good group of people that I deal with weekly in that group. And that have learnt me lots, have taught me lots, and I've learnt from, and actively doing joint ventures with those people. So, great.
And where are you based now? Are you on the Sunshine Coast or Brisbane?
So the office, the Punters Finance office is based at the Sunshine Coast. I'm up here currently at the moment. I do the commute a couple of times a week, so usually midweek I'm up here. And then I actually live in Brisbane, just locally on the south side. So I like to think I'm a bit mobile, and I can, go and meet people as required.
That's great.
Just do spend a little bit of time in the office. So I've got plenty of time to listen to podcasts and things on my commute each day. But it's my learning time, so I really enjoy that, and time to get on the phone and make some phone calls as well. So definitely use my time wisely in that hour and a half each way in the car.
Yeah, nice. So what's the best way people can find you or reach out to you?
Yeah, cool. So if you can just go to puntersfinance.com.au. You can put an inquiry through on there. My email is nick, N-I-C-K, at punters, P-U-N-T-E-R-S, finance.com.au. Shoot me a quick email, or I'm always on the phone, 0401 724 729. Happy to have a chat about property, about developing. If you need someone or you need help with something that's going on, or by all means reach out. We've got a good network.
I definitely think like having a strong network is, or leveraging your network could be like really beneficial. And I definitely think I'll be reaching out to with my future property investments, and to help build a portfolio. It's really, in Brisbane particularly, it's really hard to find a company like this, even outside in the sunny coast. So so if you enjoyed this video and you I thought Nick's tips were helpful, please like and comment below with any questions that you have. We'll see you on YouTube and every other platform for the next show. Thanks for being on the show, Nick.
Thank you very much, Nathan. Appreciate your time, and hope everyone goes well in their property investing journey. Chat soon.
Yeah, we'll chat soon, hey?
See you, mate.
Take it easy.